Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Hi. Hey, Malcolm. It's pop quiz. Hitler, good or bad? Good or bad?
According to the History Channel, Hitler bad.
God.
And I don't believe we have to say it.
I mean, Zelensky caused the Russian invasion. Okay. I don't even. You retweeted someone who said, "You're voting for a fascist. My Jewish father landed on Omaha Beach to save the world from people like Trump and people like you who are all in for fascism and white supremacy. You will wear that stain forever." This is where we are in 2024. Is the Republican Party excusing him saying Hitler did some good things? Yeah. Right?
Jesus, yes. Well, first off, greetings from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Hello.
I'm right near your sister.
Yay.
She's down Salisbury way, and I've got to go out to Greenville to meet some guy named Tim Walsh.
Ooh.
What?
So,
I know him.
Tell him we love him.
Okay, well, when I get my schmoozy selfie picture with you, I'll mention some small radio show out of a basement in California.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, good God, the fact that, we have people now praising Adolf Hitler, Donald Trump in such a way that, it's become actually fashionable in the Republican Party. And, even though I retweeted that tweet, which was brilliant, that poor guy's dad having to fight at Normandy to fight off the fascists and the Nazis, there's a great cartoon that's out there, and it said, "My parents in their 30s." And it shows a couple saying, "Hey, maybe we should buy our first house." And then it says, "Me in my 30s. Please don't vote for Hitler 2.0."
Yeah.
This is where we are.
But also,
this is our existence now.
But to your
we have to beg America doesn't descend into fascism.
Thank you. And to your point, Malcolm, it's this party that they will defend anything. Now they're twisting themselves into pretzels to talk about Trump's love of Hitler not being a bad. I mean, I thought this was the zenith. This story that you retweeted, Donald Trump's campaign manager, Chris LaCivita, shared posts on January 6th saying Trump's election lies were responsible for the violence and death that day. He also liked a post calling for Trump's removal via the 25th Amendment. And now he's his camp. I mean, this is where we are with this party.
Look, this is par for the course. All Donald Trump, he doesn't care what you said about him in the past. He wants a sycophant. He wants to be able to hold that over your head, to hold your employment over your head. And he wants you to lick the boots twice as fast, twice as hard. Good example, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is the most disgusting, lick spittle and boot lick that you could ever get. I mean, the man has become a full-blown open fascist, open, white supremacist, open, essentially, espousing neo-Nazism in the United States with this Christian evangelical sheen that he's going to take us, to become the Handmaid's Tale, and is publicly proclaiming that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here in North Carolina. I'm here with national security leaders for America. There's like 50 admirals here, and generals, and they're all saying that the last thing that people are voting for is character and the economy first. It's the other way around. You have to vote for character. And now we have people who have decided. I had a run-in with a lady this morning over sausage links who's decided dictatorship is exactly what she wants.
Right.
She wants Trump. She doesn't care what happens to the Constitution or to what America has been forever.
By the way, speaking of the economy, though, you retweeted Tim O'Brien, who said more than half of living U.S. recipients of the Nobel Prize for Economics signed a letter calling Harris's economic agenda vastly superior to Trump's. It doesn't matter what you're voting on. Kamala Harris should be your vote. Steve
Ratner on MSNBC this morning laid out the economic impact of both things, and it showed all the money's going to the billionaires, and there will actually be a tax increase on everyone in the middle class and lower, and that Trump would savage the economy. He said it would go into immediate depression, if not a recession, if not halfway to a depression. And if the economy is really your issue, then you're voting for the wrong person. You need to vote for the people that gave you the awesome economy we have right now.
Thank you. So, by the way, I was saying I rarely agree with Van Jones as well, but what he said about this town hall last night, he said Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are not taking the same exam. He gets to be lawless, she has to be flawless. I mean, that's exactly. I mean, you retweeted Chris Jackson said Anderson Cooper just asked Harris why she and Biden haven't fixed all the issues she's been talking about over the last 4 years. Really? I mean, were you in a coma? Did you miss the part where they had to clean up a pandemic, save the economy from flatlining, rebuild crumbling infrastructure, fend off fascism both here and overseas? Maybe flip that question over to Trump, the guy who actually had 4 years in office, somehow managed to be ranked as the worst president in history by historians. But he won't answer that question because he won't take any questions. So here we are.
Oh, just absolutely amazing. First off, I like that your dog has the dictator alarm.
Yes. It's the fascism early warning system. Yeah.
Fascism early warning system. What's that, boy? Dictatorship is on its way, and maybe within 12 days of what we're speaking about.
What's that, Lassie? Democracy fell down the well? Okay.
But you're absolutely right. Kamala Harris is being graded on a completely different scale. And shame on, I'm almost ashamed to say it. Shame on MSNBC with Alex Wagner bringing in this group of black voters who were openly hostile to Kamala Harris, calling her, saying she wasn't black. She did nothing for anybody. It was like a focus group of Trump blacks. And, and not once did they push back against it. Not once did they go back and say, hey, that's not true. That didn't happen. They just said, oh, well, if this is how you feel. This isn't journalism.
I'm telling you.
Grading completely off a scale.
Thank you. 12 days from...
Clinton scale times black.
Thank you. 12 days to the election, and Morning Joe has Bill Maher and his Both Sides Do It BS on this morning. You retweeted, there's a headline from NBC News. DHS is seeking more than 600 migrants for possible ties to Venezuelan gang. And Judd tweeted, this is outrageously misleading headline by NBC. The 600 people with possible ties to the Venezuelan gang includes people who were victims of the gang or witnessed crimes by the gang. Unfortunately, it's a pattern of NBC pushing misleading Trump talking points.
Well, it's the Overton window on the news media has shifted to where Trump talking points are where you start, and the reality, the truth of it, which is just not as salacious and not as interesting, is where you don't go. And so this is why we now have an ecosphere where we have people openly begging to become dictators, right? And so as America is now moving into its last days of what could possibly be the last days of the American Republic, we have a completely dysfunctional and broken media.
Well, by the way, you just also retweeted Midas Touch saying new documents from Trump's transition team list his choice for Attorney General. At the top of the list, Judge Aileen Cannon. They said they need to immediately remove her from the case. Our friend Lindy Lee said Judge Aileen Cannon delayed Trump's trial past the election, ran out the clock for him. She protected Trump every step of the way. She attacked Jack Smith, smeared his role as unconstitutional. Now Trump is considering making her Attorney General. Can you say quid pro quo? Here we are again.
Making her Attorney General. This is a woman who had no trial experience when she was appointed to this position. This is a woman who immediately started carrying out favors for Donald Trump as the trial judge, and now she's ranked number 2 on Donald Trump's list as Attorney General. I am not joking. Your dad was a Nuremberg prosecutor. I give this homework once a quarter for you. Everyone go watch Judgment at Nuremberg. Yeah. The people that are on trial who are the Nazis, who, by the way, are bad people.
That's the bad guys.
Are the Supreme Court and the Attorney General of Nazi Germany that authorized crimes to be committed and made them into legal actions under Nazi Germany. So, we're going to let this happen to us. Every one of you. I'm sorry. I know you're short for time. Every one of you better go find 2 or 3 people who haven't voted and get them to vote between now and Election Day, or commit them and yourselves to vote, because this is it, people. Look, the dog of fascist alarm, the fascism dog alarm is going crazy now. We could be losing everything we've ever lived for in the last 248.
And by the way, every tweet goes back to at least one of your books. Keith Boykin tweeted, a former Florida sheriff is working directly with Russia to circulate misinformation about Kamala Harris's campaign. European intelligence has obtained Russian documents that show John Mark Douglin is being paid by Putin to take down Kamala Harris. Oh, please, God, tell me it's not going to work this time, Malcolm. I mean, it's just, I hope that because of people like you, we're a little more sophisticated about Russian disinformation.
Yes, but it's still a collective effort. They're not targeting you and me and the people that listen, your 6 million listeners, right? They are targeting the people who, that we meet on the street who say, I'm not voting. There's no difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Donald Trump's, and there was another insulting thing on that MSNBC platform. Donald Trump's a man. A president needs to be a man, and he's the only one that can stand up to foreign leaders. The man is a sycophant. He wears, they said in the ad, he wears more makeup than Dolly Parton, literally, and and has bigger jugs. So this is what we're up against, and we are now in, again, the last days of the American Republic. If people have decided they are not going to fight for it, and now is the time to fight. We cannot win this election by 80 million votes, right? By 7 million votes. We need to turn out 100 million for Kamala.
Yeah,
100 million.
You are,
and that means, and the margins are still very thin. I'm looking at not the polls, but the early voting margins. African Americans are actually under in a couple of these polls in states like Georgia and Pennsylvania, under at the point that they were before. So that means the disinformation, the misinformation, the lies are taking their toll. And we, the people who know better, need to get out there and make sure that those people are informed and know what they're voting for.
And by the way,
survival of their country.
Speaking of Pennsylvania, you are a Philly guy. Mark Elias, hero, said Pennsylvania Supreme Court rules that voters can cast a provisional ballot at their polling place if their mail-in ballot is missing an inner secrecy envelope. A big win for Pennsylvania voters and another stinging defeat for the GOP. I mean, man, is he fighting that good fight? And we have to do that as well. We have to, fight every way you can. By the way,
don't forget, in 2020, they wanted to throw out every ballot that didn't have a signature on the back, because you're supposed to sign the back in the envelope. Check your local rules, find out what you have to do, and make sure your vote is secure. Again, we need 100 million for Harris to save democracy, not 80, which means we need to have 2 for every person that's voting right now. And it's your job to get out there and do it.
By the way, you retweeted the Trump campaign misspelled that Pittsburgh Steelers as Steelers, Stealers.
Oh, boy.
Top-notch operation they have going on over there. And Midas Touch said, this is not going to play well in Pennsylvania. He got booed at a Steelers game, didn't he, the other night?
Look, they don't care. They're not looking for Pittsburgh. They're not looking for Philadelphia. They're looking for Pennsatucky, right? Which is the southwestern corner of the state, the center of the state, and the northeastern part of Philadelphia, which is traditionally poor, working-class white. And they are doing one thing. They are promising America to them as a tribe, that white men and their wives will be able to rule over the other 60% of this country. We know the stakes. It's our job to get out there and change those stakes and mobilize the rest of America that loves the country the way that it's been for the last couple of centuries, as opposed to an orange-led dictatorship, because that's where we're going.
Yep.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.